Hi everybody, I want to welcome you to my video on how to make this beautiful shadow box card. I especially like this one because it combines the Up and Away Framelits with the balloons, along with the Outdoor Adventure Framelits with the trees and the mountain scene. I think they go quite well together. So I'm going to show you how to make that. So we will start with the base. So I have cut this out of craft cardstock. It's a little thinner than regular cardstock, but it comes in 12 by 12, and I really like the paper bag coloring. I don't know what it is about it. It's fun to work with. So first I started by cutting my cardstock. So I cut it 5.5 and left it the 12-inch length. And then I scored. So if we score from this end, I scored at 4 inches, 7.5 inches, 8 inches, and then 11.5 inches. And then I took my stitched shapes framelit, oval framelit, the largest one, and I cut out my oval. You can see I already did that. I cut out my oval with the framelit, and you'll notice it's off center. That's so that we have room for the hot air balloon on the one side. So it doesn't really matter which side. I chose to have mine off center to the right side. So before we put that together, we're going to decorate the inside. So what I'm going to do is flip this over, and I'm just going to do a quick fold to show you how it's going to look. So I want it to finish like that. So that means that this is up inside my card. That's important. You don't want to end up assembling and having it assembled wrong, right? That is never fun. I have pre-cut my mountain here for you to see. A little mountainscape from the Outdoor Adventure Framelits. And most of this side isn't going to be visible, so I'm just going to trim that so that I can cut off the unwanted cardstock here. This is soft suede, in case you're wondering. So there that is cut off. I need to put my little snowy peaks on there, so I'm going to attach each of these peaks. Now the frustrating thing with this framelit set is that these snowy peaks, I don't want to lose them, there's only one die to cut these, and you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 peaks. So you have to run the die through 6 times in order to get enough peaks. So I'm just going to pause the video so that I can add those peaks without wasting too much of your time. Okay, I've got most of the peaks on here. I just thought I'd show you how I'm actually attaching them. I just use a little bit of my Tombow whatever it's called. Multi-purpose liquid glue is what we call it. And I always spell it without that W. Oh well. So I just add a dot to the top of my mountain. Pick up my snowy peak and attach. The reason I like Tombow, one of the many reasons I like Tombow, is because there's a little bit of wiggle room. So if I don't get my mountain exactly in the right spot, I have a wee bit of time to shift it into place. Alright, so there's my mountains. So now I'm going to attach my blue sky on the inside. I'm going to use the Tombow. It's easy and quick to use. Less is more, keep that in mind. And I'm going to just attach it kind of centered. Oops. It's not, I chose to not have it fully to the top crease and the bottom crease. That just allows you freedom to crease everything and for everything to fold nicely. Okay, and then I'm going to add my mountains with some dimensionals because I want them to look, I just want a little bit of distance, the appearance of distance, if you get my drift. I'm pretty dimensional crazy. Some people like to cut them in half. It's too much time. So there we go. But half a dimensional works great too. The only time I actually cut mine is to make them fit on smaller pieces of paper. Okay, so I'm gonna attach that baby down at the bottom. It doesn't have to be, whoops. Right down to the edge, because all that's hidden underneath anyways. So there's our mountain. Now that I have the mountain on, I can attach my pieces together. So again, I'm going to use, actually, what am I going to use? I think I'll use tear and tape. So I've got my tear and tape. I'm just going to put a strip of tear and tape on here, because tear and tape is great for boxes. Tombow is great too. Just Tombow, you'd have to hold it a little longer. Tear and tape, you don't really have to spend a long time. Take off that backing. So to attach it, I am going to open this up like that and have it folded in such a way that the end of my tabbed piece here matches the center fold. And then I'm just going to layer down and just give it a bit of a rub to make sure that adhesive is nice and secure. And then we have our opening for our card. So you can see my mountains are nicely visible in my card. Lovely, lovely. Okay, so now we're going to attach, actually now that I have the inside just sort of, you know, the inside of the shadow done, let's focus on the exterior of our card. So we will begin with just a layer of crushed curry cardstock. I don't know what I cut it at. I think it's, because this ends up being 4 inches by 5.5. I think I cut this, oh, it's probably 1/4 inch smaller all around. So 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. So again, that Tombow allows me to kind of move things around before it sets. I'll just give it a bit of a burnishing or rubbing, as it were. And then my crumb cake layer on the card, the finished card, there's just a bit of a shadow around the edges. That's from sponging it. So I sponged the crumb cake with crumb cake ink. Let me just get my ink for you. There's our crumb cake ink and the sponge. And I don't want it very heavy, so I have 2 options. I can actually, yeah, so I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do circular motions, and you'll notice most of it's going off of my paper because I just want a hint of shadowing on the edges of my paper, just to frame things a little bit. Yeah, it's like a, what do you call it, a vignette. There we go. So you can see just a bit of a shadow around the edges of that. And then that will be attached to the front of my card. Like so. This crumb cake layer is only 1/8 of an inch smaller than the crushed curry to get a bit of a narrower mat. I like those narrow mats. So there's our kind of the base. And then I have this lovely piece of designer series paper, and it's cut a little wider than I need because I'm going to clip the edges. This paper is 2 inches by 5.5, no, 2 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm going to use the triple layer punch to flag the end. This is from the what is it called? Serene Scenery designer paper stack. Super fun. Still longer than I'd like. How long do I want it? Let's see here. I need to cut off another, I don't know, 1/2 inch-ish. I'm going to do that by hand for your sake more than my own. Normally I would use a cutter and make it nice and straight, but we'll take the chance. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so that one lays down with, whoops, with my Tombow with a W multi-purpose liquid glue. Fast fuse works great too. It just fuses really fast. So, plus I don't know where mine went. So I'm using the Tombow liquid glue because it gives me that give and I like it. So my cut's not perfect, but you know, you get the idea. Okay, so then I need to put down my squares. Those are created with the stitch shapes framelits, also in this case the square framelits. So I took 2 framelits, the largest framelit and the second largest framelit, and just placed them inside of each other and cut them at the same time. So it allowed me to have more of a frame rather than just a pre-cut square. So that's what I did for the Island Indigo square. The Bermuda Bay square, I used the second largest and the third largest of the, I guess I still need that, third largest of the stitch shapes framelit dies. So I'm going to put down the Island Indigo. Again, my trusty Tombow. You'll notice I'm staying close to the middle. I don't want my Tombow to ooze out the sides. And I didn't use very much. Thin. And I'm using my sample so I know, give or take, where I want this to be here. With the Tombow, you don't want to slide things around and have Tombow adhesive exposed, because if it's exposed, it will be sticky forever. I know one of my gals in my stamping group got some in her hair once, and she had a knot in that part of her hair forever. It was pretty funny, Carmen, you have to admit it. Okay, that one, and then we're going to do the Bermuda Bay. That one's toggling the other direction. Like so. Lovely, lovely. Okay, then I stamped my 2 balloons. I stamped the little balloon in crumb cake, and the bigger balloon I stamped with rich razzleberry, and then I die cut them with the Up and Away Framelit dies. So I have them here. And you'll notice, please notice, that the smaller balloon is behind the bigger balloon. The reason for that is the smaller balloon is farther away. That's why it's smaller. It's not an itty bitty balloon with itty bitty people in it. So you can't put it in front of the big balloon. It's a perspective thing. The smaller balloon goes behind the bigger balloon. I see a lot of people putting the smaller balloon in front, layering it over top. It looks nice, but it's not the correct perspective. But really, you know, whatever. Do what you want. It's all good. Okay. So I'm going to attach my smaller balloon behind with my Tombow. Right there. Okay, and then before I attach my bigger balloon, I need to stamp my I have a pre-cut cloud, and I'm going to stamp the Sent with Love sentiment. That's actually from, there it is, Sealed with Love. So that's the one. So we're going to use the Sent with Love from that stamp set. And I'm using Island Indigo ink. My block is very dirty. Sent with Love. Stamp it right about there. Pretty. Okay. Very good. And then we can assemble that onto the front. So that's going to go over top of our balloon with dimensionals. I'm going to put one dimensional in that fat part of there, and then I think I'm going to actually take a half dimensional and stick her on there. So there's those for the cloud. And it's going to go, I don't know, right about there. And then I'm going to attach my larger balloon with more dimensionals. Where do I want them? I just want one, really. One in the middle. And then I'm going to use, because the card, the balloon is over top of the cloud there, I'm going to use just a little bit of Tombow in there. My Tombow is getting empty. There we go. Just so it will attach to the cloud. Like that. And then we need one little itty bitty cloud, again for perspective. In this case it actually is a little cloud, so we can put it, whoops, we can put it in front of our big balloon. But it gives that impression of things being up in the sky. And the balloon is far away from us. Okay, so there's our front. We need some rhinestones. That's the last thing on our list. I'm just going to attach one there. One there. One up there. Ah! That one didn't attach. What's happening? Okay. I didn't take the adhesive off the back. There we go. Now it's upside down. My nails are so short. So some people use tweezers for such things. I have yet to buy tweezers. There we go. There's our front. Yay! So now we'll finish the inside. So we need to attach our trees. I've pre-stamped and pre-cut. In this case, you'll want to stamp first, just so you don't end up cutting too low. You want to stamp first so that you can know where your cutting line needs to be. And again, I'm just going to trim my edge right like that. So I have a full strip that will go across my entire card. And I'm going to attach it with adhesive, my Tombow glue again. Being careful not to get adhesive so that it's exposed on the back, open on the back where the oval opening is. So I'm going to focus my adhesive on the ends and the bottom more. Again, I'm not putting the lid on in between. That would be a smart thing to do. So there we go. Stick that down. Fun. Okay. Excellent. And then I need to assemble my balloon for the inside. So you'll see the balloon on the inside of the card. So I have, again, pre-cut everything. It took a long time to cut all of this stuff. Long time. But it was worth it. I hope it's worth it. Okay, all my pieces. I hope I have all my pieces. I think I do. So here's all my bits that I've cut from, again, from the Up and Away Framelits. For this though, I'm going to use the fine tip glue pen. It works quite nicely. And I'm going to flip over my balloon. Oh, there's a little nibbly bit left here. Nibbly bit be gone. Flip it over, and I'm only going to adhere or put adhesive where I need it right away, because it dries quickly. I don't want it to dry before I'm done. So I'm going to start with the basket. I'm just going to apply this to the basket part. I've chosen my basket to be rich raspberry. And with any adhesive that is liquid, you need to let it stand for a bit. So then on the other side, it looks like that. I can see a little, so I put maybe a little bit too much of that adhesive on. It's hard to get it right. Okay, so then I'll carry on, and I'm going to do one piece at a time until I finish this. So you can see that I worked my way from the bottom to now I'm doing the last piece at the top. I'm being very sparing with the adhesive. And there's our finished look. And I still, you know what? I still wasn't very sparing. It's kind of glittery. Sometimes when I get adhesive showing, I can, before it's dry, kind of take away that bit of excess. Sometimes. Thankfully, with the fine tip glue pen, you don't end up having it stay sticky, but it does have a shiny wet finish, which isn't necessarily what you're looking for. That's okay, I can live with that. There we go. So there's my balloon. Yay. Okay, so then that balloon is going to attach to my card front. Oh, you know what? Put your lid back on your adhesive, people. That is not okay. All right, put that away. Okay, I'm bringing out my Tombow liquid glue again because I love it. Now, I don't want to put adhesive on the back of the balloon where it's not actually attaching to anything. Otherwise, it's going to stick every time the card is closed and opened again. We don't want that. So I'm going to focus my glue on this side. And that basket. That'll do. And I kind of intentionally, I don't know if you can see that, where I started cutting and where the die cut, there's that kind of distinct mark there, so I'm going to hide that. Not a big deal, but you know, I'll do what I can. So that's where my balloon is going. I'm going to hold on to that. And then I just need a couple of clouds and then it will be done. So I'm going to take 2 clouds again from the Up and Away Framelits. And I'm just going to add them to give the impression that this balloon is in the sky forward and I'm looking down at the trees. So I'm going to put 1 balloon up here, like so. And the other balloon, ooh, come back. Balloon, I'm calling them balloons. You know what I'm talking about. These things are called clouds. This cloud, this happy little cloud is going to live over here. Right there. And my hot air balloon is flying through the air towards some exciting destination in the wilderness. There we go. And there you have it, folks. This lovely, fun, die cutting, crazy card with a great result at the end, right? You gotta admit that. It looks great, don't you think? All right, thanks for watching, and hope you'll come back and check out some other videos because I hope to do more. Have a great day.